What is up, my dudes? This is Caveman Only, and welcome to episode 7 of my underground adventures. It's been a little while since the last update, a little bit longer than usual, I guess. But don't worry, because I have still been grinding my ass off, both on-stream and off-stream. I've been doing a ton of combat training, both at the Tsar Creatures, Hill Giants, Chaos Druids, Calphite Guardians, several different places, and also just general preparation, gathering supplies for my very first attempts at the Calphite Queen in about 2 to 3 weeks from the time that this video gets posted. So anyway, without any further hesitation, let's go ahead and get into the content. So a couple weeks ago, I held my second ever community event at the Fight Pits, and what you're about to see is an event of legendary proportions. The battle between the legend himself, Karamja Only, and the amateur, me, Caveman Only. So this event was seriously a blast. About 15 people showed up at the start, which was a pretty great turnout. And some people came in like true tribrid gear to come and slaughter all of us. I didn't win a single game. I died more than half a dozen times, as you can see in the background here. But it was honestly such a great time. Thank you to Ben, aka Karamja Only, for coming out to the event. I appreciate you greatly. And the next community event I have in my back pocket, I will be announcing that maybe at the next update. But yeah, great community event, and I'm really looking forward to the next one already. Right after the community event ended, I got my first ever donations. So huge shout out to Catman1900 and also Zorv for your very generous donations to an idiot like me. And now what you're going to see is even better than that. Because it's 78, I've got access to the Dorgishkhan high-level chests that drop gems. Specifically like the Jade, Opal, and Red Topaz. And
once I get those, oh shit!
Oh shit! Woo! Fucking did it! Yes! Obby Shield, boys! Oh, fuck. Yes. So after 2 weeks of relentless grinding, I finally managed to get my very first big drop on stream. And it was so cool to see all of the Pog champs in the chat for the very first time. So thank you to all of you who tuned in to witness that event. After the event was all said and done, I decided to try something brand new on my account that I'd never done before. At the end of the last log, I finally managed to get my very last Evil Bob random event that I needed to get 28 fishing, which is the level that I need to catch slimy eels in the Lumbered Swamp Cave. I needed some fishing bait though, so I had to head to the Edge dungeon and kill some zombies to collect some fishing bait, just enough to get me up to level 33. So here in the background you can see, you probably didn't even know that this was a thing, but catching slimy eels in the background. They're pretty useless for my account because they only heal like 7 to 11 hit points, I think. So not very useful at all for my account, but it was kind of cool just to do something AFK for once. And there's 33 fishing, which is the level I need to net fish for giant frog spawn in the same location, which means I don't need fishing bait anymore, which is kind of nice. So I proceeded to test out giant frog spawn fishing, and it is very slow and tedious. I didn't really mind because it's very AFK and the spawns down there don't change very often, so that was kind of nice. But the one thing that I noticed that I didn't even know was a thing was that I can fish swamp weed with the net as well, which are the strange green-shaped things in my inventory. That's basically my equivalent of seaweed. So I can use it on a range to turn it into soda ash to use in making molten glass. And that comes in very good use later on in the video. Switching it up again, doing a bit of melee training at Hill Giants to collect giant keys, and here I finally get 43 prayer. Obviously a big milestone for my account. It'll make Slayer easier later on in the future, and I also managed to hit 950 total. So, still trying to keep things fresh, I headed back to Czar City after a bit of melee training at Hill Giants. And life pro tip, the sulfur vents in the Czar City actually count as a range, but only on food that does not require baking. So no pies, pizzas, or bread. After I cooked all of my swamp weed into soda ash, I was killing a little bit of time waiting for my minigame teleport to rejuvenate, and I managed to get my hands on a placeholder obsidian cape, so that's pretty neat. I quickly picked up some buckets in the lumberage cellar, and then I headed back to Dorgish Khan. I'm telling you, man, this city is really like a treasure trove of things, especially for me. There's actually a sand pit in the southern part of the city right next to the furnace, which makes it a prime location for making molten glass. So I quickly smashed out some molten glass and prepared myself for the next step. So I've gotten the fishing level, I've fished the swamp weed, made the soda ash, collected the buckets, made the molten glass, and now, finally, the last step is making the Dorgish Khan teleport spheres. If you didn't know these existed, they do, and they are one-click teleports that take you to a random location in Dorgish Khan. So not exactly the most useful thing for anybody except for me, but these will be my one-click teleports that I use when I eventually take on the Cowfight Queen. So in classic Caveman fashion, it's time for me to do even more content that nobody else besides me does, and that is stealing from the average chests in Dorgish Khan. I've found that this particular chest upstairs on the second floor is the best chest for me to loot, because it gives me the chance of obtaining runes. If you might remember from my previous progress video, I've run into a roadblock with Slayer. I've got an Anku Slayer task, and in order to do it, I need to unlock access to the catacombs. So I need level 69 magic for the teleport to Corinne magic spell, and training my magic level is very difficult for me. Even though I do have access to the rune shop now in Czar City, and thanks to you guys for passing the poll question for adding rune packs to the Czar shop, that was my idea, by the way, training magic is still very difficult for me. So camping this chest is kind of two stones with one bird, if you know what I mean. Yet again, I wanted to go and do something different, so I headed to the Karamja volcano to pay the lesser demons a visit. My RNG has been pretty crazy lately, especially with all the obsidian items that I've gotten, so I figured I'd try and get my hands on the rune medium helmet from these guys. That will be the best in slot helm that I will be taking to the Cowfight Queen, because I won't be able to get my hands on a rune full helmet because I don't have access to Obor or greater demons yet. Oh shit, that was fast. And once again, RNGesus is blessing me with his favor. I was only here for maybe 10 or 12 kills and managed to get my very first Rune Med helm. So that's going to be my best in slot helm that I'm going to be taking to the Cowfight Queen. And now I'm going to head back to the Hill Giants for some more melee action. Speaking of Hill Giants, you're probably wondering why I'm doing Cowfight Queen ahead of Obor. And the reason for that is I can't effectively kill Obor yet. As you see in the background here, my only way to get to the Edgeville dungeon currently is by suiciding, which means I can only bring a maximum of my 4 best items with me. So that means I can't bring ammunition for range, I can't bring runes for snare, I can't bring food. So in other words, Obor is not possible for me right now until I get access to jade gems from the rich chests in Dorgish Khan at level 78 thieving. Once I have access to those, I can make myself Rings of Returning, which teleport you to your respawn point, and from there, I can finally kill Obor. All of these clips are in chronological order, and I'm pretty sure that each clip is like new content every time. Anyway, back to doing a bit more thieving to try and passively get up to level 78 for those Rings of Returning, but thrown in here is a neat little milestone. 10 million overall experience. #FeelsCaveman. More unique content. Nice. I'm at Cowfight Guardians trying to get my hands on a rune chain body when this lovely viewer, Kissums, decides to make me my very first shrine of rune chain bodies and also rune crossbows, which, if you're familiar with my one-off trips, you'll know that the rune crossbow is the very last thing I'm trying to get my hands on, and it's going to be very difficult. So shout out to Kissums for giving me a shrine in classic Bapaptu fashion. Big range milestone coming in, and congratulations, you have now reached level 75 range. Nice. I can now wield the blowpipe and the twisted bow. Speaking of the twisted bow, what are your thoughts on me potentially doing raids in the future? Obviously, they're not the easiest thing to get to, but it could be some more end game content for me to try. I wouldn't be doing raids for a very long time, but if you think it's something that I should give myself access to in the future, of course with it being locked behind some type of requirement, let me know in the YouTube comments and tell me what you think. Oh great. Oh, would you look at that shit, boys. Fuck yes. Fuck yes. That is beautiful. That is exactly what I wanted too. So coming full circle, after continuing to camp the Zar creatures, I finally got my hands on another obsidian maul, which puts me over the top with enough tackle needed to purchase the obsidian staff. So here's a quick look at all of the obsidian unique items I've ever obtained, and I've decided that I'm going to sell off all of the placeholder items in order to afford the obsidian staff from the shop. I mentioned in my last log that the staff is very difficult to get as a drop because it's a 1 in 4100 drop rate as opposed to a 1 in 512 like the rest of the uniques. And plus those Zar creatures mage you as well as melee you, so I would have to flick Protect from Magic for tens of hundreds of hours in order to get that staff.
Give me that shit. Oh.
Yay, I did a thing, guys. Awesome. Feels Caveman. And just like that, the third long-term goal of my account has been completed. Feels pretty awesome, I gotta admit. I've been camping these guys for a couple weeks now, on and off stream, and it's been very grueling and kind of depressing sometimes, but I've finally managed to get my hands on this staff, and now I can officially move on to attempting the Cowfight Queen. I've got some melee training to wrap up, some meat pizzas to make, some addy knives to smith, some secondary potion ingredients to acquire, and then after that, it's pretty much game on. So, Cowfight Queen coming at you in 2 to 3 weeks' time. I will let you know a more exact time frame with my next update. A few more tangential notes before I let you go. In case it wasn't already blatantly obvious, I do have my new microphone and pop filter now. I've got my Blue Yeti desktop microphone in front of me, so the audio quality hopefully sounds much better than it has in my previous videos. I've also got a mouse finally, so I can actually do some bossing here with a mouse rather than with my MacBook Pro trackpad, so that's very exciting. And perhaps the most exciting news of all is recently I've just accepted a Twitch affiliate position, which means that I now get a subscriber button on my channel. I've already been graced with 4 lovely subscribers, which is awesome. And I have also commissioned Volcaban to make my custom Twitch emote as well as some channel art for all of my social media platforms. You probably know Volcaban best for his video thumbnail artwork for Sir Pugger and a few other popular RuneScape video makers. So I'm very grateful that he has agreed to commission some art for me, and hopefully that will take my social media to the next level. Okay, wrapping up and taking a quick look at the bank and what has changed. Obviously, you'll notice all of the obsidian unique items are in there now, as well as a bunch of Dorgish Khan spheres, some new food, including a couple lobsters in there. Not that I fished them, but they're from the Cowfight Guardians. Quite a few herbs and potions in the bank now, which is kind of nice to see. I've got some molten glass supplies and some unpowered orbs in the crafting tab from the Dorgish Khan chests. I've got 20 giant keys so far to take on Obor in the future, as well as a nice little insoled head and talisman collection. And then towards the bottom, just some random junk. I've collected all of the rope that I need for my Cowfight Queen kills. I've got a few mithril axes if I ever do any more woodcutting in the Varrock sewer. I've got some Dorgishan light bulbs in there that I'm saving for firemaking training in the future, but I need 52 firemaking to use those first. But all in all, bank is looking quite nice. And finally on to the stats. I've gotten 50 total levels since my last progress update. I've gotten about half a dozen strength levels, half a dozen range levels, and prayer levels. A couple hit point levels, of course, a few herb levels, about a dozen fishing levels. And all in all, things are coming together quite nicely. I obviously have a few more melee stats to get to base 70s. And then I also need to get a couple more herb levels so I can make some prayer potions to take on Cowfight Queen. But getting very close to being ready for Cowfight Queen, guys. It is just around the corner. I know I've been saying that for the last month or so, but it is seriously right here. So just after I post my next update in about 2 weeks, I'll be ready. Anyway, I think that's all I got for you. So thank you for tuning in to this update, and I will see you next time.